Hello and good afternoon everyone, and welcome to the third lecture discussion about nomenclature of organic compounds. We will be dealing with aldehydes, ketones, amides, esters, and carboxylic acid this time. So we have the same intended learning outcomes just like before. The goal number one is to identify and name the parent chain in the organic molecule. Goal number two is to classify the family of the parent chain or the base by giving a suffix, the appropriate suffix. Number three is the very meat of our discussion, which is the naming of the organic compounds given various representations such as chemical, structural, or skeletal formula. And goal number four is just the reverse of goal number three. We will not do this actually, but you will, uh, if you know the rules in naming your organic compounds, then you can also draw the appropriate structure. So for the topic outline, we will cover the following compounds: aldehydes and ketones, amides, carboxylic acids, and your esters. Okay, so let's now begin our discussion, and we will begin our discussion with the differentiation of the carbonyl compounds with carboxyl compounds. So when you say you have a carbonyl compound, you have the presence of this C double bond O. Diba? We call that your carbonyl group. So among the functional groups natin or classes of organic compounds, we have aldehyde, ketones, and then your amides. So they have this carbonyl group. Okay, that's why they are also called carbonyl compounds in general. On the other hand, when you say you have a carboxyl compound, then you have this C double bond O O. Take note how I describe the bond. So we have C double bond O and O. So if you have that particular part of the structure, then you call that your carboxyl group. So, why is it called a carboxyl group? Remember our discussion that sinabi ko noon na ito ay actually a carbonyl group plus the hydroxyl group. So, you have carbo and syl, so you have your carboxyl compounds. So, there are a lot of carboxyl compounds actually, but this time we will just uh, focus on two. We have your carboxylic acids and your esters. Okay, so let's now begin our discussion, and this time we will be dealing with your aldehydes. So follow nito ay si ketone mamaya. So yung aldehydes are responsible for the aroma of several plant natin. So that's why they are used as spices. So yung cover photo ko dito is yung different spices natin. Okay? So, pag pinag-uusapan kasi yung aldehydes, hindi hinihiwalay sa kanya si ketone, lagi silang magkasama. So, let's define aldehydes and ketones. So, sabi ko nga kanina, they are compounds characterized by the carbonyl functional group or the C double bond O. Okay? And they occur widely in nature. So, for example, in this photo, we have three photos here with some structures embedded on top of it. So the first one is your cinnamon. This one is almond. And you have your vanilla bean. So in each of these plant materials, may mga aldehydes yan. So ito nakikita yung structure dito. This one is called the cinnamaldehyde. This one is a benzaldehyde, and this one is your vanillin. Okay? So again, these are the general structure or the functional group of your aldehydes and ketones. You still have the carbonyl group, but the difference between the two, yung aldehydes and ketones natin, in your aldehydes, you have the terminal, sa isang side, ang nakakonect sa kanya is H. So, after mong malagyan siya ng H, that is actually, wala ka nang pwedeng idagdag dyan na atoms. So, how do we name your aldehydes in a very simple way? You have your alkane, you drop the E, and then you add the word anal. Okay? On the other hand, when you have your ketones, ang characteristic naman niya sa structure is you have the carbonyl group, ito, and it is surrounded by 2 carbons. So, napapagitnaan siya ng 2 carbons. So, how do we name your ketones naman? You still follow the same format. You drop the E from the alkane name natin, supposedly, then you just add the "-one". Okay? So, parang siya ay magiging alkanone. Ganun ang magiging format ng name niya. Ito namang sa aldehydes ay magiging alkanal. Okay? Because of the anal suffix. So, now let's go to the proper naming of your aldehydes. So, sabi nga natin in the previous slide, we drop the E of the parent alkane and we replace it with al lang pala, sorry. So, dapat lang ay al. So, alkanal. Kaya, okay? So, al lang ang idadagdag, sorry. So, aside from that, we also assign C1. So, carbon number 1 ay yung carbonyl carbon. So, when you say carbonyl carbon, diba, you have your C double bond O and then the H. This carbon is called the carbonyl carbon. Okay? So, di ba, ang carbonyl group is the C double bond O. Pero dahil siya yung carbon doon, yun ang tawag sa kanya ay carbonyl carbon. So, always assign a lower number to the substituents and then alphabetize if needed. So, ito namang always assign a lower number to the substituents ay kapag meron ka mga nakakonect or nakadecorate dun sa iyong parent chain. So, let's give some examples. So, for this example, we have naipakita na dito yung systematic and common name. So, this one is called a methanol. So, bakit siya naging methanol? Because you have a single carbon. So, supposedly that is methane. We drop the E and then we add the al. It's now methanol. If mayroon ka naman 2 carbon, so 1, 2, that's ethane. Drop the E, then add the al. So, that becomes ethanol. Now, sabi dun sa rule ay, itong sa third example natin ay, ginagawa nating carbon number 1 yung carbonyl carbon. So, this one is the carbonyl carbon. So, we assign it as number 1. Then, number 2. Then, number 3. So, if we have 3 carbons, diba, that's met et prop. So, that's propane. Propane supposedly. Propane. Drop the E and then add the al. So, that becomes propanol. Okay? So, laging ang carbonyl carbon, yung C double bond O, siya yung carbon doon, ang laging carbon number 1. And since na-establish na natin yung direction ng number, so, lagi ang numbering ng mga aldehydes ay from right to left. If in case na yung ito, itong naka-yellow na yan ay nasa kabilang side, then, ganun pa rin yung direction, palayo sa kanya. Okay? Pero generally, sinusulat kasi ang mga C double bond OH dito sa may right portion. So, yung second carbon natin ay may bromine na nakakabit. And we know that the bromine substituent is called a bromo. So, the bromo there ay gagamitin natin. So, it will become now 2-bromo-propanol. Okay. So, aside from that pala, ay meron tayo mga ginagamit na mga common name. So, yung methanol kasi is also called formaldehyde or this is also called your formalin. So, ito yung ginagamit for the preservation of organisms in your biology class. The next one is called, yung ethanol is also called acetaldehyde. Okay? So, yung common name ay yung simplest name lang talaga niya. Okay. So, ito naman ay mga example lang siya ng pag-name pa rin. So, parang katulad lang nitong sa portion na to. Okay? So, if meron kang chloro, if you have a Cl atom, then that's chloro. Okay? So, yung direction na ng numbering ay from right to left. Okay? So, ito din, ganun lang din siya. Ito, gusto kong i-highlight ito kasi there's a possibility kasi na dalawa yung C double bond OH. And take note, pag may aldehydes ka, class, yung C double bond OH ay laging nasa dulo. So, yung isang ito, nasa isang dulo, yung aldehyde part ay pwede mangyari lang sa isa pang dulo. So, dulo-dulo lagi. So, paano pag gano'n? Paano papangalanan siya? So, ang magiging pangalan na lang niya is, you just count the number of carbons. So, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, you have a hexane. Then, parang kung naalala niyo yung discussion natin ng alcohols, dalawang alcohol, di ba? We call it dialcohol. So, ito naman ay dahil al ang kanang ending, so we also add the word or the prefix di, meaning dial. So, this one, the structure of this compound is, the name of this structure is hexane dial. Okay? So, since alam nyo na yung mga rules on the naming of your aldehydes, then, it's now your turn to try to deduce the systematic name of the following compound. So, one structure here is condensed structure, and the remaining two ay mga skeletal structure. So, again, you should be proficient in naming your structures kahit mapa-condense yan or mapa-skeletal yan. Okay? So, please try to pause the video or just refer to the handouts na binigay ko sa inyo. Okay. So, we're now done with aldehydes. Then, let's go now to the discussion of your ketones. So, ito yung laging kasunod na discussion ng aldehydes. So, as you can see here, I have here a picture of a lady who is cleaning her nails. So, gusto na siguro niya magpalit ng color ng nails. So, that's why ang ginagamit niya ay yung acetone. So, acetone is a very common and a well-known type of ketone. Okay. So, yung description ng ketone ay nangyari na kanina. So, ngayon ay diretso na tayo sa naming ng inyong ketones. So, for the naming of your ketones, systematic name, IUPAC name, so, dun sa ating previous slide ay, sinabi ko nga sa inyo, that the terminal E, yung E sa dulo ng alkane name, ay pinapalitan siya ng -one. Okay? Again, lagi pa rin yung rule na yung parent chain ay yung pinakamahaba, dapat yun ay yung merong ketone group. So, yung ketone group natin, yung C double bond O, and then, it is surrounded by 2 carbons on each side. Medyo kakaiba yung pag na number, kasi kailangan, ito yun, hindi siya katulad dun sa aldehydes na dulo na kasi yung portion na yon. Yung ketone kasi ay pwedeng mangyari elsewhere, in the middle, or just along the way, along the structure. So, kailangan din nating ma-designate kung nasaan yung location noong ketone part na yon. Okay? So, ang rule dito is, hanapin natin yung dulo kung saan mas malapit yon dun sa C double bond O. So, let's give some examples para mas maliwanagan kayo. So, for example, this one, nakapresent na din yung systematic name, common name, and derived name, but hindi na natin kailangan yung derived name. We will just focus on the systematic name. So, for example, this one, structure A is your propanone. So, ang pinakasimple na ketone natin ay yung tinatawag natin na propanone. So, why? Kasi, diba, sabi ko nga sa inyo, yung carbon na may double bond O, the carbonyl group, it should be mapagitnaan siya ng dalawang carbons. Diba? So, it means that kailangan 3 carbons yung pinakamaliit natin. Okay? So, that's why it's called propanone. Bakit siya propanone? So, you count the number of carbons. 1, 2, 3. Met et prop. So, that's propane. Diba? That's propane. Drop the E. Add the one. So, that becomes propanone. Okay? So, okay na yan actually. Tapos, kung gusto nyo pa rin talagang ilagay yung position ng ketone group, yung carbonyl group, ay pwede nyo siyang lagyan sa unahan ng 2. So, the accepted name is propanone or 2-propanone. And this is your acetone. Kaya nga very, sikat talaga si propanone kasi nga siya yung pinakamaliit na ketone. Okay. Now, let's give some examples kung paano naman yung mga ketones na mas malalaki. Like, for example, ito. This one is called a 3-hexanone. Let's dissect the meaning of that name. So, it's a hexanone. Bakit? Kasi you have how many carbons there? So, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, 6 carbons siya. And then, remember the rule na we start the numbering at the end near the carbonyl carbon. So, I will ask you, saan tayo mag-start? It's either from the right or from the left. So, yung itong C double bond O highlighted in yellow, ay ma-encounter natin siya kapag nag-start tayo sa left. So, we'll follow the direction from left to right na numbering. So, let's number it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, it seems that the carbonyl carbon, the C double bond O, is at carbon number 3. That's why its name is 3-hexanone. Okay? So, for this one, ito naman, yung medyo mahirap na structure, let's say that's structure C. So, this one is called 6-methyl-2-heptanone. Heptanone siya kasi when you say hep, that's 7. Then, the ending or the suffix is -one. And where is the carbonyl group? So, the carbonyl group is here. So, we'll start with the numbering from your right. So, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. And then, at carbon number 6 of the parent chain natin na heptanone, ay merong nakakabit na isang methyl group. So, that's why the name is 6-methyl-2-heptanone. Okay? So, yung mga rules kasi, lang talaga siya, paulit-ulit lang siya. Pero yung may mga special cases, like, di ba, nung sa discussion natin ng alkenes and alkynes, if you want to consider the parent chain, then the parent chain should also consider yung double bond. Hindi nyo siya dapat is-skip. Dapat kasama siya. Okay? So, dito naman sa ketones, dapat ay numberan natin siya ng mas mababa din. Yung position ng C double bond O. Okay, so let's give some, mga examples pa. This one naman is, let's say this is structure D, E, F, G. So, in structure D, as you can see here, it's a cyclic version. So, that's a cycloalkane talaga siya. Then, meron ka nung C double bond O. So, that makes it a cycloalkanone. Yun. Diba? So, siya ay cyclohexane talaga siya. Cyclohexane siya. We drop the E and then we add the one. So, that's why the name is cyclohexanone. Okay. For letter E structure naman, yung kakaiba dito ay yung presence ng dalawang carbonyl groups natin at magkatabi sila. So, kung natatandaan ninyo sa ating mga namings, di ba? Pag dalawang alcohol, diol. Kapag dalawang aldehydes, we call it dial. Tapos ito naman, kapag dalawa na yung ketone group, we call this as your dione. Okay? So, gawin na lang natin dito ay we count the number of carbons. So, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, met, et, prop, but. Then, that's butane. And then, we just add the word dione. Meaning ng dione ay meron kang dalawang ketone group or C double bond O. And you can also specify the positioning of the C double bond O. Ito ay nasa carbons 2 and 3. So, this is 2,3-butane dione. Okay? Just like this, auto. Tingnan nyo yung sa structure F. It's similar dun sa structure E. Pero yung difference nga is nawala yung number sa unahan nung sa letter E structure. So, this one naman is pentane dione. Ganun lang din yung explanation. You just count the number of carbons and then locate the presence of the C double bond O. Okay. For structure G, ito yung medyo step up na siya, yung hirap niya. Kasi, this time, you have the ketone group and you have this alkene. So, paano pag-name nun? So, ang magiging name pa rin yan ay, ending pa rin talaga natin is own, pero yung sa alkene part ay isa-specify din natin siya. So, ang tanong muna is, nasaan ang parent chain? So, ito yan, yung mahabang ito. Yan. And then, let's assign the number. So, sabi nga is, we start from the end na mas mauuna nating ma-encounter yung ketone group. So, we start from the right. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, 6 carbons. So, that's hexane or hexene. So, siya ngayon ay hexene. Hexene siya kasi may double bond. So, you drop the E, you make it own. So, hexenone. Okay? So, hindi tayo pa magsa-stop doon kasi we need to specify where is the double bond and where is the C double bond O. Okay. So, kapag ganyan, hanapin natin yung double bond na muna. So, it is between 4 and 5. Ito. The double bond is between carbons 4 and 5. So, we just use the lower number which is 4. So, that's why it's called 4-hexenone. Okay. Ngayon, ito yung medyo problema kasi nga, may number ka na sa unahan. Baka kasi isipin mo, itong number sa unahan, ayan yung positioning nung C double bond. Oh, mali. Yung 4 na yan is just referring to the position of the double bond. Okay? So, ngayon, kailangan nating hanapin or i-assign yung positioning nung ketone group. And as you can see in the numbering natin, that sa carbon number 2, nandun yung C double bond O. So, that's why we will put 2 in the name. Pero paano? So, ang gawin natin ay 4 hexene. So, ibig sabihin ng 4, may double bond dun sa carbon number 4 and 5. Tapos, yung ilalagay natin na number dito is the 2. The 2 here will tell you the position of the C double bond O. Okay? So, sa higher organic chem, so hindi lang double bonds o kunwari, may presence ng alkene, may ketone, minsan nilalagyan pa yan ng halogens. So, you consider everything in the naming. Okay? So, itong letter G, patikim pa lang yan. Kasi dalawa pa lang yung functional group dyan na present. Pero, pag madami na yung mga naka-decorate dyan sa parent chain ninyo, bahala kayo sa naming ninyo. Joke lang. So, yon. So, that's how we name your ketones. Okay? From simplest, yung mga letter A, letter B, yung mga wala pang mga substituents. Letter C structure. Ang letter C structure natin ay meron ng substituent. Letter D is a cyclic na ketone. We have letter E and F as diones, yung mga dalawa yung carbonyl groups. And then yung letter G ay yung structure na may alkene and meron tayong ketone. Okay. So, minsan kasi di yun talaga natin maiwasan na isama din yung discussion ng common names ng ketones. So, the IUPAC also retained some names for few ketones. So, for example, yung binanggit ko kanina na mga structures dun sa start ng ating lecture ay we have your benzaldehyde, yung nakikita natin sa ammones. Then, we have your cinnamaldehyde, obviously coming from your cinnamon. And then, your vanillin ay coming from your vanilla beans. We also have your acetone. So, ito talaga is propanone. We have your acetophenone and your benzophenone. Okay. So, may mga names ng ketones na ang niretain ay common name. Pero, dahil nga, systematic name lagi ang ating pag-uusapan at yung gagamitin natin. Okay. So, now that nasabi ko na sa inyo yung mga rules or mga examples on how to name your ketones, then it's now your time again to try it on your own to deduce the systematic name of the following compound. So merong version dyan na pabilog, merong may mga iba pang mga substituents. So, pag may, ito pala, hindi ko pala nabanggit, if you have two or more substituents, again, you still need to alphabetize the structure. So, hindi necessary na kung sino yung nauna sa alphabetization ay siya yung mabibigyan ng mas bababang number because, di ba, yung C double bond OH, yung carbonyl carbon, siya yung laging C1. Okay? So, that's for ketones. So, ngayon naman ay puntahan natin yung third part which is on carboxylic acid. So, in the photo here, you can see here the different citrus fruits. So, yung mga citrus fruits natin sila ay very well known for having carboxylic acid. 'Di ba? Sabi nga nila kapag may sakit ka, kumain ka ng orange. Bakit? Kasi ang orange ay may ascorbic acid. And ascorbic acid is one example of a carboxylic acid. Okay. So, let's give a definition or description of your carboxylic acids. So, these are compounds characterized by the carboxyl group. So, the carboxyl group there is the COOH. Okay? So, they are abundant in nature from the oxidation of aldehydes and alcohol. So, napag-usapan na natin yung aldehydes kanina, di ba? And then, yung alcohols ay nung previous na discussion. So, ito yung mga examples. We have your vinegar. So, that's acetic acid. So, vinegar, acetic acid, pero meron pa talaga siyang systematic name later on. And kasama din sa mga carboxylic acids itong mga coconut oil. So, in the second bullet here, sabi diba, from yung carboxylic acids ay nanggagaling from the oxidation of aldehydes and alcohols. So, if you're familiar with the process of fermentation, so we have your alcoholic fermentation, that's the conversion of your glucose to ethanol via a process anaerobic. So when saying anaerobic, no oxygen is required. And usually ay ginagamitan ito ng yeast. So sila yung nagfer-ferment ng glucose, ng sugar to make your ethanol, which is your wine, 'di ba? Kaya nga pag iba gumagawa ng wine. Then kapag yung ethanol ay hinayaan mo siya ulit magkaroon ng another round of fermentation, this time, nagkakaroon ng acetification through acetic acid bacteria or AABs. So, yun naman ay nangangailangan siya ng aerobic process. So, when say aerobic process, there's a presence of oxygen. Okay? So, from your ethanol, it will become acetic acid. So, di ba? Okay. So, since na-discuss na natin yung description or definition ng carboxylic acid, pakita ko lang ulit yung general structure ng isang carboxylic acid. The presence of this C double bond OH that makes it a carboxylic acid. So, how do we name your compounds with this functional group? So, common na nga, di ba? Yung sinasabi ko sa inyo na you always find the alkane, the name of the alkane, you drop the E, and then this time you add oic acid. So, usually, ang ating mga systematic name or IUPAC name ng ating mga carboxylic acids end with the oic acid. So, let's give some example. So, nasabi ko na yan. And, itong second na box dito, sabi dito, assign C1 to the carbonyl carbon, always assign to a lower number, always to the substituents, and alphabetize the substituent if needed. So, parang katulad dun sa sa ating aldehydes, di ba? Yung aldehyde part kasi na functional group ay usually laging nasa dulo. And yung carboxylic acid, ganun din. 'Di ba? Kung babalikan niyo yung structure ng COOH natin, itong part na 'yan, hindi mo na pwedeng dagdagan 'yan. So, kapag may H na diyan, tapos na yung structure, wala ka nang pwedeng ilagay diyan unless nagma-magic kayo ng structure, which is bawal. Okay? So, laging balikan natin pala. Sana. Itong C double bond O again is the C1 natin. So, yung numbering ay palayo dun sa carbonyl carbon. So, let's give some examples. So, we have here, for one carbon na carboxylic acid, we call it metanoic acid. So, originally, a one carbon alkane natin is called methane. Methane. You drop the E, add the oic acid, so that's why it's called metanoic acid. For two carbons, that's met, et, ethane, ethanoic acid. For three carbons, propanoic acid, butanoic acid, pentanoic acid, hexanoic acid, and so on. Okay? So, yun lang yung madali pa yan kasi ano lang yan, parent chain lang siya, wala pa siyang mga substituents. Ito naman nakikita nyo sa structure na to, this one is called propanoic acid. So, bakit siya naging propanoic? Di ba yung kanina, propanoic? So, yung presence ng en, that makes it na may double bond dun sa structure ninyo. Okay? So, ang may kulang dito sa naming ng propanoic acid na to ay dapat din specify kung nasaan yung inyong double bond. So, sabi nga natin, the carbonyl carbon is carbon number 1, this is carbon number 3, and this is 2 and 3. So, yung ating double bond ay between 2 and 3. So, we can also write here 2 propanoic acid, or kung gusto nyo naman, prop 2E prop 2 N-noic acid. Okay? So, yung number 2 nilagay na sa unahan. Sa loob ng parent. This one naman ay benzene carboxylic acid. So, you have the benzene ring and then nilagay na lang yung word na carboxylic acid. Okay. So, of course, hindi tayo titigil doon sa mga simpleng naming lang. Dapat meron yung mga substituents. So, magbigay tayo ng example. So, sabi ko nga kanina, lagi nating simulan yung pagpapangalan ng carboxylic acid by dropping the E in the alkane name and add the oic acid. We always assign the C1 to the carbonyl carbon. Kapag may substituent, we always assign the lower number. Okay? And alphabetize the substituents if needed. So, let's give some example. Ito, nandito na yung mga pangalan niya. So, i-make sense na lang natin kung bakit ganyan yung pangalan nila. So, again, we start the numbering. Ito, the 1 here, dun sa carbonyl carbon, the C double bond O, and the direction of the numbering ay palayo sa kanya. So, if we will count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so we have 5. That's pentane. Drop the E. It will become pentanoic acid. Okay? Then, at carbon number 4, you have a methyl substituent. So, that's why the name is 4-methyl pentanoic acid. O, how about letter B? Yung letter B structure naman ay may presence ka nung dalawang carboxyl group. So, parang katulad lang dun sa aldehydes natin. Kung magkakaroon ng dalawang aldehydes, di ba nasa magkabilang dulo? So, yung carboxylic acid, ganun din. Sa magkabilang dulo lang din siya nag-o-occur. Okay? So, dahil doon, ay yung numbering natin pwede mag-start from left to right or right to left. So, may possibility. Ngayon, meron tayong dalawang substituent. The one in the green is called your ethyl. And then, the blue one is called your methyl. So, ang gagawin muna natin dito is to alphabetize the two substituent. Of course, your ethyl will come first, then followed by the methyl. Then, if natatandaan nyo pa yung rule natin na kung same yung numbering direction from left to right, right to left, ay mas bigyan natin ng mas bababang number ngayon yung kung sino na una sa alphabetization. So, kung si ethyl nga ang nauna, edi dapat bigyan natin siya ng mas mababang number. Okay? So, let's assign yung numbering Ang direction ay left to right. Okay? That's why the name is 3-ethyl 6-methyl octane dioic acid. So, kung kunwari, binigyan ko lang kayo ng name na ganyan. It means, octane dioic acid, you have 8 carbons. Drawing kayo ng 8 carbons. Dioic acid, ibig sabihin nun ay nasa magkabila. Okay. Actually, may kulang pala dun sa naming nito. Dapat din ay ma-specify din yung hindi na kailangan ng numbering kasi nga magkabilang dulo naman sila. Okay, no need for the number nga. Okay? Then you have this a methyl group at carbon number 6 and then you have an ethyl group at third carbon. Okay. So since kanina kung nakita niyo sa isang slide natin ay may systematic name tas below the name may common name. So kung babalikan natin siya, yon. Yung methanoic acid, that's the systematic name for one carbon na carboxylic acid. The common name is formic acid. Okay? Then, yung isa naman, ethanoic acid dahil dalawang carbons and the common name is called acetic acid. So, bakit naging ganyan yung mga pangalan nila? So, yung common name ay dinerive siya kung saan nanggagaling yung carboxylic acid na yun. For example, yung formic acid it comes from a Latin word na formica, and formica means ants. So, kaya yung naging pangalan ng ating methanoic acid ay commonly called as formic acid. Okay, yung acetic acid naman, so yung word na aceto, it means vinegar in Latin. So itong picture na to ay just showing you yung mga common names ng ating mga carboxylic acids from carbon 1 hanggang carbon 36. Okay? So the one in bold, that's the common name. Okay? So, yan, may nakikita kayong goat dyan. Yung isa is caproic acid, yung isa is caprylic, and yung isa is capric acid. So, these are all from goat. Okay? Okay? So, since nabanggit ko na yung mga rules and different examples on how to give a name to your carboxylic acid, then it's your turn again to deduce and to name the systematic name of the following compound. So, naglagay ulit ako ng isang condensed structure kasi hindi naman dapat laging post-skeletal structure lang. Okay? So, dapat magaling kayo sa pag-name ng mga structures nyo. Either bigyan ko kayo ng skeletal or condensed structure. So, again, try to pause the video or just refer to the handout na binigay ko sa inyo. Okay. I think we're down to the second to the last na functional group. So this one is your esters. So I'm showing here a still art or still painting. So this is still life with fruit and lobster by John David's theme. It is painted around the 17th century. It's an oil on canvas. And why am I showing this? Because esters are the ones responsible for the fruity smell. So yung bango ng mga prutas, ang responsible doon na organic compounds ay yung inyong mga esters. Okay, so let's give a definition or description of esters. So esters are compounds in which the OH of the carboxyl group RCOOH is replaced by an OR, di ba? Ang drawing natin ng carboxylic acid ay ganito, C double bond OH. So yung OH part dito, natatanggal yan, inaalis yan, and then pinapalitan siya ng OR. So kapag yung structure nyo ay may ganyang part, then you call it an ester. So here's the general structure or the functional group. You have the C double bond O, and then you have the OC or the OR. Yung R kasi dyan, It means pwede ka maglagay ng mga carbons doon. So how do we name your esters? So same format, you drop the E, add the E, drop the E and then add the word or suffix na OAte. OAte. So siya ay magiging alkanoate. Alkanoate. Yung format ng name ng inyong mga compounds. So let's give some examples for esters. Okay? So ulit-ulit lagi, drop the E, the final E from the parent alkane name and replace it with OAte. Always assign a lower number, always to the substituent, and alphabetize the substituent if needed. So, bigay lang tayo ng mga counting examples na lang to. So, this one is called, let's assign the structures A, B, C. So, itong structure A, the systematic name niya is ethyl ethanoate. So, hanapin muna natin yung part na ethanoate. So, 'di ba, yung ethanoate diyan ay this part. Kasama yung O. So, yun yung tinatawag natin na ethanoate. Okay? So, ito, dahil dalawang carbon siya, from ethane, it will become, drop the E, add the OAte, so it becomes ethanoate. Then, this part is your ethyl. So, that's why the name is ethyl ethanoate. For letter B naman, it's called phenyl propanoate. Okay? So, yung phenyl part is this one. And where is the propanoate part? So, the propanoate part is this one, yan. So, count the number of carbons. 1, 2, 3. So, met, et, prop. So, propane siya originally. You convert it to O-weight. Drop the E. So, magiging propanoate siya. Okay? So, it becomes phenyl propanoate. Last one, for structure C. This is called methyl 3-bromobutanoate. Okay. So, where is the butanoate part? So, the butanoate part is ito. Okay. So, bakit siya naging butanoate? Kasi we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Pero dapat ang numbering niyan ay wala na pa pala. Sige. So, 4 na carbons yan. So, butane siya. Drop the E. Butanoate. Okay. And, bakit may 3-bromo? Kasi nga, sabi nga natin, ang numbering natin, ang assignment ng number natin ay magsa-start from the carbonyl carbon. So, this one is 1, 2, 3, 4. So, yung direction niya ay palayo. Yung numbering direction natin ay palayo dun sa C double bond O. And at carbon number 3 of the butanoate, meron kang bromo na nakakabit. So, that's called 3-bromo-butanoate. Okay. This part, yung nakakabit sa oxygen, di ba? We call that your methyl. So, that's why the full name of this compound is methyl 3-bromo-butanoate. Okay? No need to assign number kasi yung methyl group naman ay naka-connect siya dun sa oxygen. Okay? Mabilis lang yung discussion ng esters. So, meron ulit tayong sample problems here. So, you can try this on your own. Try to deduce the systematic name of the following compounds. So, ito naman ay mga esters naman sila. Okay? So, we're down to the last topic. This one is your amides. So, in our cover photo, ito yung acetaminophen. So, ito yung ginagamit nyo kapag masakit yung ulo ninyo. So, yeah. So, description lang ng amides. So, these are compounds in which carbonyl carbon is attached to a nitrogen atom. So, if you will, this is the general structure. You have the carbonyl carbon, the carbonyl group. Yung carbonyl carbon here is attached to the nitrogen. So, that makes it an amide. Okay? So, may dalawang possibilities. Itong part na to, itong dalawang free pa na pwede pang pagkabitan kay nitrogen. This could be attached ng hydrogens or pwede namang carbon. So, for our discussion na lang, we'll just assume na yung nailagay dito ay puro H. So, this part is parang NH2. Parang naglagay ka ng amino group sa carbonyl group. So, paano ng name niya? So, again, you try to give the name of the alkane, the parent alkane. You drop the E, and then you attach the word amide. So, magiging alkanamide siya. Okay? So, let's give some example. Again, the rule for naming your amides: drop the final E of the parent alkane and replace it with amide. Again, we assign C1 to the carbonyl carbon. So, the direction of the numbering will be palayo sa C double bond O. Always assign a lower number to the substituents kapag may mga 2 or more substituents na tayo. And then, alphabetize the substituents if needed. Okay, so let's give examples. So, ito naman ay, sabi ko nga sa inyo, mga madadaling example pa to kasi yung dulo ay NH2 na lang. So again, you have here the C double bond O, NH2. So, you count the number of carbons. So, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, if this is an ordinary alkane, so this one is a hexane. But, hexane, you drop the E, you add the amide, so that becomes hexanamide. Okay? This one, how about this one? Letter B structure natin. So, meron ka nung cyclopentane dahil siya ay may 5 na corners. Diba? Sa bawat corners ay may carbon. So, this part is called a carboxyamide. Yan. So, naiiba yung pangalan niya kapag siya ay nakakonect sa mga cyclic natin na alkanes. Cycloalkanes natin. So, simulan natin ulit yung pangalan ng mga mga compounds natin. So, yung example dito is called an ethanamide. So, bakit siya ethanamide? Kasi meron kang 1, 2 carbons. So, met-et. So, ethane siya supposedly. You drop the E and add the amide. So, it becomes ethanamide. Okay. This one. How about this one? So, ito ulit yung dulo. This is carbon 1 lagi. So, the direction of the numbering ay palayo sa kanya. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. So, at 4 carbon natin, may naka-attach na Cl. So, what is the substituent's name pag Cl siya? So, that's chloro. So, and since we have 4 carbons in the parent, so that's butane. Drop the E, add the amide, so it becomes butanamide. Okay? So, then, butanamide siya dyan. And then, where is the chloro substituent? It is attached to carbon number 4. That's why the name is 4-chlorobutanamide. Okay? So, ganun lang. Mabilis lang yung, yung discussion and examples for esters and amides. Okay? So, I want to challenge you again, di ba? So, every end ng ating mga organic compounds, ay nagbibigay ako ng sample problems for you to work on. So, this time, these are your amides. Try to deduce the systematic names of these 3 skeletal structures natin. Okay. So, basically, yun na-cover na natin yung lahat ng mga basic functional groups. So, madami pa talagang ibang mga functional groups, but for your level ay hanggang dyan na lang muna siya. So, tingnan natin ulit yung ating mga intended learning outcomes kung na ano ba natin siya, na-hit ba natin siya. So, goal number 1, yes. Kasi, bawat classification ng organic compound ay iba yung pagpapangalan sa parent chain. Like for example, uh, kung siya ay aldehyde, so we will call it something with alkanal. If you have a C double bond O tapos ketone siya, so alkanone and etc. Number 2 is to classify the family or group the parent chain or the base by assigning the suffix. So nagawa naman natin 'yan. Dulo ng aldehydes ay al, ang ating ketones ay one, ang ating amides ay amides din. We have your esters as O-weight, and yung carboxylic acid natin ay oic acid. Goal number 3 is also attained natin siya. So, nakapag-name tayo ng mga organic compounds given various representation. But ako nga, ginagamit ko is more of the skeletal structure. But you should always be, alam nyo kung paano mag-name kapag condensed structure yon. Pero pag condensed structure kasi, very challenging tingnan yung connectivities ng bawat carbons natin and the atoms. Goal number 4, hindi na naman natin siya na accomplish, but this is just a reverse of the nung mga rules na pinagdi-discuss natin dito. So if you're given a organic compound, you should be able to deduce or draw the structure of that particular compound. And sa ganung situation, mas preferred na gamitin ninyo na representation ay yung skeletal structure. Okay? So, that's basically the nomenclature of your organic compounds. This is all about your aldehydes, ketones, carboxylic acids, amides, and your esters. So thank you very much for listening and have a good day.